Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Balance Your Productivity live broadcast here on Facebook every Wednesday at 4:30 p.m. Thank you for watching, and please do feel free to share any of the previous videos or watch any of the previous videos in this series. And if you want to comment or ask a question, then you can do so in the comments below, and I will get back to you. If you're watching live, then do ask a question in the comments, and I'll keep half an eye on what's coming in the comments as well, and answer those as I go along. So in this session, I wanted to touch on something that I think is important to a lot of people, and something that they perhaps feel on a regular basis, which is around dealing with stress. It's something that impacts work in particular and businesses, and it accounts for around 35% of work-related ill health, whether people are taking days off through stress, whether they're actually getting ill as a result of their stress, and it costs businesses a lot. And it's something that we need to be very aware of, and the impact that it has on us, and the impact it has on our lost productivity, and that what that means to us both in work and in our home lives. So hello Stephen, hello Dawn, thank you for joining. And as I say, I will try and keep an eye on the comments coming in as well. So I wanted to to touch on this because, again, it's come up in conversations, and it's something that I am indirectly dealing with when I talk to people around their time management productivity issues. It's the stress that results from that. And more these days, there's a lot of stress being put on our time, and just the pressure of life in general. And we're all likely to be affected by stress at different points in our lives. And we have major life changes like death, divorce, moving house, illness, serious illness, which can cause us stress, fairly obviously. And then we can have smaller stressors that come in, which can still have an impact on us. And stress is really about how we react to a particular situation, or the pressure that we're under, or the demands that are being placed us on at the time. And it's something about our ability to cope or not with the source of the stress. And you're likely to feel under pressure and stressed by simple things: sitting in rush hour traffic, working long hours, dealing with a heavy workload, urgent demands being made, trying to meet deadlines. So those are the sorts of things that can impact you on a daily basis in your work and home life. Something that is a source of stress for one person may not be something that's particularly stressful to somebody else. So it's something that's very individual to all of us, and we all handle stress differently. So starting by understanding what is it that causes you stress, and what is a level of stress that you find acceptable or that you can manage, or when does it cross that boundary around this is more than I can really cope with. Quite often, and something that particularly happens in the work environment, is we can deal with a certain level of stress for a period of time, but it builds up and up and up. And it's only when something breaks, or we break, or we get ill, that we then react to that stress in a particularly negative way. And that's where the ill health, the impact it has on people going off either with long-term or short-term sickness as a result of ongoing stress and being under too much stress. As I said, we can cope with a certain amount of stress for a short period of time, particularly to get us through certain situations. If you have a pressing deadline, you might need that little bit of stress to push you through it, or if you've got something very challenging going on, that's something that could be useful. But if it goes on for too long, or you're not able to relax or switch off in between those events, then that's when it has an impact on your health, potentially. When you're feeling stressed, you're not going to be performing as well, your productivity is going to be lower, and it also affects how you think and feel. Thank you, Corinda, for your comment. Yeah, I'm definitely coming on to how we can deal with that. And I think it's important to recognise what's causing us stress and what the impacts are of how we're feeling in particular, and the impact it has on our health. Even things like back, neck and shoulder pain, especially for those of us that spend a lot of time at their keyboard looking at a screen, which includes me. I'm very prone to neck and shoulder problems because you sit hunched over your keyboard. Skin conditions like eczema can be a result of stress, particularly disruption to sleep or not being able to sleep very well, not getting to sleep, not getting enough quality sleep can be signs of stress. High blood pressure, losing or gaining weight. You either don't eat or comfort eat if you're feeling under stress. And the longer that stress goes on in the body, the more likely you are to be susceptible to heart disease, in particular if you're holding all that stress in. Headaches can be a sign of stress, and longer term depression can be a cause of a result of stress as well. So that it's one of the main reasons that people end up taking time off work, and even for less serious symptoms of stress, lack of concentration, low energy levels, forgetting things. Frequent colds is a sign that your immune system might be suppressed as a result of stress. So it all affects how we work, how much we're able to do, and how we feel in general. So a few ways to manage or reduce or deal with the stress that you have. Most importantly is you need to look after yourself. That's probably the number one thing, is to recognize when you're under stress or that there's a build-up of something that's not quite right, and look after yourself first and foremost. Make sure that you get a good night's sleep. As I said, lack of sleep is going to affect how you feel, and it affects your productivity. You're not able to concentrate, you're not as focused, you're more likely to get distracted internally rather than externally because you just got too much going on. So make sure that you get what is a reasonable amount of sleep for you, whether that's 6 hours or 8 hours. Tends to be what most people will need if you want to stay productive and be effective. Make sure that you are eating a healthy, balanced diet. Not too much in the way of processed, high fat, high sugar foods, which is what we tend to reach for and perhaps sort of crave if we're either feeling low or under pressure or under stress, or you don't have time. You'll grab a coffee to keep you going, you'll grab a chocolate bar to keep you going because you don't have time to cook. But it's important that you are eating properly. Healthy diet, fruit, vegetables, and drinking plenty of water. Avoid excessive stimulants like the coffee, tea, or reaching for cigarettes. That can often be a stress relief for a lot of people if you smoke, or falling into having a glass of wine to relax, because that can then again accumulate. The effect and the impact of those sorts of things tends to lessen, so you need more of it in order to get the same effect. And obviously things like smoking and drinking too much have negative long-term effects as well. Take regular exercise. This is a really good way of releasing stress as well. Just being able to go out, even if it's just going out for a walk, fresh air exercise, going out for a run if you run, doing team sports, doing something really energetic, going to a fitness or an exercise class can be a really good way of releasing some of that stress that we tend to hold on to. And it's good for the body, so that helps overall. Make time for yourself. Just taking time out to relax on a daily basis if you can, spending time with family and friends so that you're able to switch off and not have that added impact of you're working too hard, too many long hours, so you don't get time for yourself or your family. And it's important to switch off, especially if your mind is buzzing with everything that's going on, you're under pressure, you're thinking about lots of things that you need to be doing. So it helps to have a switch off time, relax, calm your mind, particularly if it's buzzing, and just doing simple breathing exercises or meditation or just relaxing movement. Yoga, Tai Chi, Pilates are all brilliant for moving the body in such a way that you relax. I mean, when I first started doing yoga, That was one of the things that I found had the biggest impact, was on being able to get a really, really good night's sleep after I'd done a yoga session, because you move your body. Again, when we're sitting, we spend a lot of our time sitting at our desks, and it's very good for relaxing, toning and stretching. And I'll add into the comments on this the breathing, simple breathing meditation, which again is a very good way of calming your mind and relaxing and taking away some of that stress. If you're in a very stressful situation, whether it's very busy at work or you need to go and talk to somebody about something, or maybe even do some public speaking, something that is perhaps you're feeling very stressed out, is just to do a few calm, deep breaths, and that really can help you release some of that tension and feel a lot more relaxed. Just try it, a few deep breaths in and out, holding the breath, breathing slowly in and out, and see the difference it can make, even just doing 3 simple cycles. Managing your workload is going to help you reduce your stress at work. So if you are working long hours, try and reduce those hours, particularly setting boundaries around when you start and when you finish. If you're not very clear with that, then you're likely to just keep going until the work's done, particularly if you're feeling under pressure and stress to do that, which has that negative impact of you end up working long hours, you're getting more stressed out, you're less productive, and it just has that knock-on effect the whole time. So if you can take control and set those boundaries, you'll be more productive if you know that you have a set end time. Take responsibility for what you can control and try to worry less about the things that you can't control. That's something that is often a source of stress, and we worry about things that we actually have no control over. So either look at what you can do to take control of the situation, which might be as simple, or maybe not so simple when you're stressed, as what can you do about how you're thinking and feeling about the situation, as opposed to can you actually make any difference or change it. And if you can't, then why waste your time and energy on something that you can't change? And think about what you need to do to take back control and reduce your own stress levels. It's important to also be proactive in this situation. Sometimes we can feel like we don't have any control, or that something is happening to us. So what can you do to actually be proactive and put yourself into a better frame of mind, better position to take control of whatever it is that's going on? Prioritize what's important and stay focused on what you need to stay focused on, and try and avoid any distractions if that's just adding to your stress. It's also helpful to keep things in perspective. Particularly when we're stressed, things can seem very overwhelming and get slightly out of hand. But just take that deep breath and ask yourself, what's the worst that can happen if you don't do something or something does happen? And sometimes we just end up worrying too much about little things, or we build something up. But if you can take that step back and think about what's the worst that can happen, it can give you a little bit more perspective on what's really going on, or is this really important in the grand scheme of things? And quite often it's not. Also, to manage your stress from the beginning is work within your own ability. It's good to be challenged and step out of your comfort zone, but it also creates that element of stress when we're doing something that we are either not happy with or we're not comfortable with. So there's that level of positive stress that you need to help push you, and I think it's always good to expand your comfort zone. But don't put yourself into situations where you really have no skill, or you're out of your depth, or you don't have knowledge, and you're either not supported, or you can't see a way of moving forward, because that then just puts added stress on yourself. And that's when it's a good time to ask for help and support. There's nothing wrong in doing that, particularly if you are feeling stressed, there's a lot going on, is ask for help. And that's another good tip for managing your stress, is to talk about it, communicate with the people around them, let people know how you're thinking or feeling, or what's going on for you, because they can probably help. It doesn't help at all to bottle up your emotions and hold everything inside and let everything get on top of you. If you can then just let it out and talk about it, you'll find that that's actually a really good way of relieving stress. I've had a conversation last week, which was exactly that. Somebody was getting very, very stressed about what was going on. They were taking a lot of it very personally. It was all sort of going on inside, and they were getting more and more angry and frustrated. But as soon as they started talking about it, it just really helped to get a sense of perspective, as well as take a lot of the emotion out of it. And just being able to talk it through really helped them to release some of that stress, get it out of their head, everything that was going on, and help them come to a decision about what they needed to do or what they could do next, or stop worrying about what it was. So think about what causes you the most stress in your daily life, whether that's at home or in work. Think about how it makes you feel and what you need to do about it in order to make a change. How can you reduce your workload if that's something that's stressing you out? How can you improve your overall well-being to help you feel happier and healthier and less stress? And take the time to manage your stress and put yourself in a much better position. If you want to, thanks guys for your comments. Oh, there we go. If you want to find out more, then please do get in touch. I'm always happy to have a chat. You can book a time up for us to talk, or you can take the time quiz. Some questions in there will give you an insight into what's causing you stress, where your stress is coming from, and what you need to do to manage it better. I will always give everyone email feedback on their time quiz results. So take a look at that. And I said, if there's anything else that I can do to help, then please do. So I'm just switching over. Please do get in touch. As always, nice to have you watching live, and thank you for listening, watching and sharing, and I look forward to talking to you next time. And still, until then, stay productive.